There everybody is. Welcome into the Sports Arena. Yes, I am Michael Caratanudo at Diablo00 on X. You know, the artist formerly known as the Twitter. And man, it is Monday night. What a Monday night it has been so far. I don't know if John Shear, if you're out there, buddy. So torn. You know I'm stoked. Real quick for you, start with tonight. John knows I'm stoked because, the Rangers losing is a beautiful thing, but having to hear him talk about, his Carolina Hurricanes in hockey, it's pretty disgusting. So, but they did take down the Rangers 4-1 to get within one game. It is 3-2, but I just wanted to get that out there. But yeah, of course I can't root for them. I mean, the Rangers, come on, man. That's just terribly disgusting. But anyway, Sports Arena fans, what is up? There you are, John. Go Canes. Look, you know how stuck I am because I've never really despised the Canes. Obviously, they're not the team. They're not obviously the team they're playing, right, John? They're not the Rangers. And they're sure as heck not, Philly or Pittsburgh or Ottawa as well, being a Devils fan. So, it's oh man, but that was crazy, man. Down 1-0, they win 4-1. So anyway, but there's John with his Go Canes. Don't worry, man. Hockey, we're ready in the offseason for hockey. The Devils are going to pound them next year. No, I love the Stanley Cup playoffs. So anyway, that being said, but we'll be joined by the doctor, the smooth man. Jarrell will be joining me shortly. We are going to talk, obviously, money flying around in the NFL today. I mean, 2 extensions, but both of those teams that did it with the players they did it with, obviously the Lions, you've all seen Antoine Winfield Jr. becoming the highest paid DB and setting the market, not a corner doing it. I feel like Allen Iverson. I felt like the whole Allen Iverson thing today, the commercials that we've seen, not practice, not a corner, a safety, which, again, seeing a defense, a safety set the market like that, I've always said, yes, we understand the speed of corners and what it can be like, but they make it sound like safeties are really slow, like, almost like a sloth running downfield. The descriptions throughout the years, I'm not exaggerating. You know me. Yes, I'm a defensive person, but go back. If you're ever bored at night and you're going down a rabbit hole of videos, try and go search what they used to say, like draft breakdowns or just breakdowns in general of, when they're talking about speed between corners and safeties. Obviously, yeah, corners probably going to be a little bit faster, right? We all get that. But it's one of those things where they're obviously, I know they're not saying slow, but just in comparison, it's always been one of those things that cracked me up. So yeah, Antoine Winfield Jr. And then also obviously, and what the Bucks have done this offseason, but Antoine Winfield Jr. and Antoine Winfield Jr. and Jared Goff, obviously for the Lions. So what the Bucks have done and what they've done, and we'll talk about it with Jarrell, and now what the Lions have done by the last extension that they have given out. I should say given out, but the last extension they just worked out. Much better wording there. The last extension that they've worked out is with Jared Goff and locking up a core and just understanding, what they have. And that does that obviously does not suck. If you're a Lions fan, hit me up in the comments. What do you think about Jared Goff getting this deal? And look, the guy's he's been uber talented. Yes, I mean, even I know before you guys say it, yes, not even being a Pac-12 homer, but I mean, coming out of Cal, what he was able to do. And again, they had good teams. Don't get me wrong. but middle of the roadish, and it's one of those things where for Jared Goff, when you look at it, getting obviously, Sean McVay went to a Super Bowl with them, and then that I guess that ran its course, and he felt he was limited. But Dan Campbell and the Lions, if you're a Lions fan, I think you got to be stoked. I love how Jared Goff played, and like I said, all Pac-12 mentions aside, but how he played, obviously how this offense looked, and they look. It's a little bit of a buzzsaw against San Francisco. So that's one of the things when you look at it that is tough. But I will say the extensions they've given out, and Jarrell and I will get to that as well. The extensions they've given out, them and the Bucs kind of mirroring, hey, this has worked. This makes sense. Yes, they can still perform, right? Yes, they can still perform, but and you want to keep them together. And you look at Lions locking up and drafting Penei Sewell, like that was, that fell into them. And he's just he's a road grader, and their whole offensive line. But Penei Sewell, absolute money for Penei Sewell. So Jarrell and I'll get into that. We're also going to get into the NBA, the playoffs, and this thing called betting, because the NBA playoffs, the way they're going, when we look at it, obviously the Celtics won tonight, and they are up 3-1 now after their 109-102 win tonight. They're up 3-1. The Knicks Pacers in the Eastern Conference. Look, man, could the Knicks have played any worse yesterday? Well, look, and the Pacers, they caused a lot of that, but the Knicks didn't shoot good at all. They end up getting full disclosure, it being Mother's Day, I stopped watching when it went to the fourth. But 121-89. The fact that they actually got to 89 points is, not good, but you figure that's 22 points a quarter on average, and they put up 14. They were losing by 20 at the end of one. So pretty much the game was over after the first quarter, right? Sorry, Knicks fans. And I'm not a Knicks hater, you know that. But 34-14. Then they managed to, the Pacers score 35 in the second. The Knicks put up 27. Okay, you figure they could have put up 27 in the first, you're feeling better. But 69-41 is your halftime score. And then they outscored them 32-22. The Pacers outscored the Knicks in the third, as you know. The Knicks did outscore them in the fourth, but there are guys sitting. And then the Nuggets yesterday. And what did I say? What did I say last week? I said that this Nuggets Minnesota series would be just like the hockey series between Vegas and Dallas, where the road team wins the first 4 games. Well, so far, that's what's happened. So that's where we are at. And then tonight, like I said, the Thunder and Mavs right now, 35-26 is the score. So that being said, look at this, man. Here's the man that does everything, running around, staying up late night, hanging with me on the East Coast, as it's a little bit later than this here on the left coast. But man, Dr. Jarrell, what's up, brother?
Hey man, what's going on? How you doing? Can you hear me pretty good?
You're good. You're good. I got you. You're always smooth. Come on now. No, but hey, like I said, we told everybody we're talking about. Glad you could obviously jump in, but yeah, we're gonna hit that first. You and I talk, but the money that has been extended. I mean, contract extensions, and yeah, there are only 2 today, but they're a significant 2 because we'll start with the Detroit Lions. Obviously, they give Jared Goff a 4-year, $212 million contract extension. That, girl, man, this is just crazy. Usually, you see something like that, and it'd be about maybe half of it guaranteed, 106. You got 170 million guaranteed. Did Jared Goff, and the huge part about that is you look at how they extended him, and obviously they've had a busy offseason, have the Lions. But just first off, your thoughts of Goff. I mean, I feel he's earned it. I feel they're a lot more confident than Giants fans are, obviously, in Daniel Jones.
Hey, man, I think this right here is letting them know that they have what they want in the quarterback position, and they feel very confident in what the pieces they're putting around him. I don't think it's a bad move. He's built rapport with St. Brown, with his tight ends. He's commanding leadership in the locker room. I like it. It just always boggles me that Jared Goff and a couple of the subpar, second level tier quarterbacks, they always find that bag, though. They find that money, man.
See, I'm waiting for you to jump on. See, I don't think he's second tier, and I told everybody watching, all Pac-12,
okay,
all Pac-12, homerism aside, at Cal. I mean, look, you saw what he did at Cal. You saw what he did with the Rams. And I said, look, Jeff Fisher may have been a hell of a defensive coach, but everybody always made the joke, he should change his birthday to July 9th because, he always goes 7-9. And that's all the Rams did was go 7-9. And Jared Goff, they drafted him. But look, Sean McVay came in, the offensive guru, the hot thing, offensive genius, and he is money. But they get to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Obviously. And then it's like, okay, he feels it plays course. I'm not going to say, and now talent-wise, I'm with you. I'm not going to say that he's a Josh Allen. He's a Patrick Mahomes. See, look at this, man. You already got Raphael fired. How is Goff subpar? But no, I'm not saying he's Mahomes or Lamar Jackson or, Josh Allen. But look, he's in that tier. And like you said, Sam Laporta, that was obviously a huge draft pick. I mean, this tight end, this young man came in, and you're right, with Amon-Ra St. Brown, who, got his extension, 4 years, $120 million. Penei Sewell locking up the road grader. Of course, I try not to say this Pac-12 stuff, but they make it hard for me, Jarrell. I mean, look at Penei Sewell, man. He's just a beast. But no, I see what you can say. I mean, look, it ended with Sean McVay. The Rams obviously go to a Super Bowl, win a Super Bowl with Matthew Stafford. They switch quarterbacks, but the Lions are knocking on the door right there. And so I can see what you're saying. I'm not going to call him subpar. I would call him right outside that top tier, though, because I even said that last year. Like, I believe in Jared Goff.
I would definitely put Jared Goff in that gray area, but he's still top subpar to me. And Raphael, I feel you. What you talking about subpar? Y'all said the same thing about Cam when he was trying to explain a game manager and a Showtime player. Let me explain, man.
Right? Well, that's a phrase I don't. Oh, sorry.
He's a great leader, no doubt about it. He makes things happen. He's not.
Oh no, I was going to say real quick, like
Go ahead. No, I'm listening. Go ahead, man.
I hate the term game manager and system quarterback, because like the Hall of Famer and anybody and John always gets on me saying, "Oh, you can do better than that." But I'm sorry, if I'll take a Hall of Famer that knows more than in his pinky about the position and the sport than the rest of us. But don't call him a system quarterback or a game manager, because every quarterback is a system quarterback. Everyone, every single one. Now, I'm not talking about their playmaking ability and if a play breaks down, but coaches will draft quarterbacks and look at the tape and do the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of whatever hours, as you know, Jarrell, research. So, yeah, that's just tangent there. But but
we can get into that. Together, we can get into that as well.
And what it does too, real quick, because last year they drafted the kid I thought that would have won the Heisman Trophy if he didn't get hurt, was a kid out of Tennessee. Was that?
I'm still looking. And I'm still looking for big things from him when Jared Goff time is over. But and we can get into the game manager and game thing. I like what you're saying. But with Jared Goff, I think he's a great leader. He make things happen. He has a stupid arm. He's nice. The thing about it is, when I say that he's subpar, he's not that game manager that we're talking about. I mean, not game manager, but Showtime player that we're talking about. And he has to have those right pieces around him in order to successfully get the team to where they need to go. Just like when they were, in LA.
Right.
It's just like Dallas quarterback. He needs the right pieces around him. That's what I mean by that. He's not your, like you said, your Patrick Mahomes. He's not your Aaron Rodgers. It is what it is. Is that taken away from him as a quarterback? No, it's not. He deserves everything he gets as far as with the contract extension. And I like what the Lions are doing. I think their front office has been making provisions to make the best team that it possibly can have in the last 30 years. Hands down. This is the best I've seen the Lions, and we're now excited to see the Lions play every Sunday on offense and defense, because the defense is stacked as well with young talent.
Yep. No, absolutely.
And excuse me, man. I tell you, I've been rushing, so I'm eating and trying to, you know what I'm saying?
No. It's one of those things too. And I'll say this about the Lions, and I see what Raphael said. Joe Montana is a system QB. Raphael, dude, I'm not like you're not here. You listen to Jimmy, you don't hear Jimmy. And for those of you who haven't seen what Right Man Can't Jump, just listen to that. You listen to Jimmy, you don't hear Jimmy. Raphael, what I'm saying is every coach is looking at a quarterback for their system. And Joe Montana, look, absolute money. Dan Marino. Like, you can go back through the lineage of quarterbacks. I mean, Jim Kelly, Warren Moon, like guys that were just absolutely insane, right? But for Jared Goff, to mine and Jarrell's point, to wrap up Jared Goff real quick, I mean, like you said, you re-signed him on Ross St. Brown. You give him a contract extension. Obviously, Penei Sewell, you just drafted him. There's no need to let that go long and let a consummate all-pro, not just Pro Bowl, all-pro lineman go with the line they've built there. But with Jared Goff, look, a lot of quarterbacks, and some might need a little bit more weapons in the way they look, and even and some might play on teams that have great defenses. And when you look at Jared Goff, I mean, like I should talk about first, but Antoine Winfield.
Now let me say this, Mike.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, before we go to Whitfield, let me just explain my take on that. The game manager and your Showtime player. In order to be a Showtime player, you have to be a system quarterback first. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. But can you extend the play, make plays outside of that? Are you more of an asset outside of that? That's what I'm looking for as far as in that definition. You know what I mean? But in order to be that at first, you have to be a system quarterback. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it, in my opinion.
Right. No, look, 100%. And there are guys that will make, I mean, we've seen it in our lifetimes. Even if you love the team, hate the team, or just, passing by watching a game, you and I both know you see a quarterback or, a receiver make a play and you're like, oh my, like, are you kidding me? But speaking of making plays, and like I said, setting the market, I mean, Antoine Winfield, this young man, Antoine Winfield Jr., like I was saying to you before we started the show. Yeah, Dad never got this kind of bag. Dad got some good bags, and Dad was a phenomenal. That was a very, very good player. But he might remind his son that he's got to send him. He's got to send him. He might want to send him part of that guaranteed money. Let
me hold some.
Yeah,
let me hold some, son.
Yeah, he taught him. He's like, here's it. No, but Antoine Winfield Jr. I mean, look, $21.025 million per year. Now, for safeties, I mean, obviously highest paid, but he's the highest paid DB. For safeties, he's at $21.025, like I said. Derwin James, obviously the Chargers, he's a beast, $19 million. Minkah Fitzpatrick, $18.25 million. Xavier McKinney from the Packers, $16.75 And then Jesse Bates III from the Falcons getting $16 million. And you better start living up to that defensively because they need that. But when you look at corners, though, I mean, look, he's the highest paid DB, and the next four are corners. Jair Alexander, no surprise at $21 million. Denzel Ward, $20.1 million. No surprise there that he's at $20.1 million. And then you get Marlon Humphrey or Jalen Ramsey at $20 million and Marlon Humphrey at $19.5 million. So, I mean, to me, like, but again, they locked up guys on offense, and I think giving this to Winfield is a genius idea, absolute genius idea. And I mean, look, you're not gonna, you can draft another safety if you want, but guess what? Like, he's established. This kid's money. So I love what they did. They re-signed Baker Mayfield. They obviously extend Mike Evans. David, they gave him a 1-year, $8.5 million deal. So look, there's some core pieces they want to run it with again in the NFC South. But what are your thoughts of the signing?
Actually, I think it's a nice strategic move. What it does on offense, like you said, you got Baker Mayfield. You re-signed to keep Mike Evans happy, to let him know that they're committed to getting him the ball and making him, comfortable in the situation he is, and making him a lifetime Buccaneer. Then on the defensive side, you're going to one of your star young players solidified to bring in other talent along the way as well. They're just trying to do the same thing, in my opinion, that Detroit is trying to do. They're looking long term and trying to, build the right situation for that NFC South, where they can easily take over Atlanta, and it's between them and Atlanta. In Carolina, we really don't have too much of anything going on right now, so they're in a prime position of making a playoff run if they get the right pieces around it. And this is a nice signing to me.
Right. Oh, no. I'm with you. And I mean, you look at quarterbacks and obviously, well, when we say quarterbacks, but Burrow at $55 million next year, Goff at 53, Justin Herbert at 52.5, Lamar Jackson at 52, and then Jalen Hurts at $51 million.
He better show up. He better show up this year.
Speaking of showing up, I think we may have Eric. What's up, buddy?
Hey, my brother.
What's going on, y'all? Good to see everybody. Jarrell, Dr. Heslip in the building.
How you feeling, man?
Another day. Just survived 3 back-to-backs, but I'm here, man. What's going on, fellas?
Well, we're talking about your neck of the woods. How stoked is everybody in Tampa that Antoine Winfield Jr. gets 4 years, $84 million, 20.025, whatever it was a year, 20.025 for Winfield. 4 years, $84.1 million. But just your thought about what the Bucs are doing, E.
I mean, listen, Todd Bowles is an amazing coach, and the team clearly understands where they're at right now. I heard Jarrell say that the South pretty much is a 2-horse race between the Buccaneers and the Falcons. And I would agree with that. But I also feel like this is their moment because so much is put on their plate after, winning their championship with Brady, with the all-in move of everybody coming to Tampa to play with him. And we always say you don't want to be the guy to follow the guy. And then in this case, what I mean by that is it's Baker Mayfield. However, Baker is just along those lines of an athlete, and more importantly, a quarterback in the NFL who I feel schematically, no matter what team he plays for, he's always going to be that guy that, push come to shove, you can count on him more times than not. So by adding a piece like Winfield on the defensive side, all that's doing is saying, listen, we understand what we have offensively, and we know what we're capable of in a division that on paper should belong to us. Now our job is to make sure that defensively, which Todd Bowles is known for, defensively, we should have all the pieces around us so that way our defense is not the reason that we are not successful. Because if we let Baker be Baker, We know what he's capable of. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Kate Otten, the whole gamut of offensive.
Don't forget about the Sun Devil, Rashad White, baby.
Yes, Rashad White. Yes, Mike. I save all my Sun Devil and Pac-12.
Well, I like Rashad White. Yeah.
But defensively, this team now, and we'll find out here in a couple of days what their schedule is like.
Right.
Because the schedule drops on Wednesday.
Yep.
So, we're going to see their opponents, what it looks like, the timeline, the whole 9 yards. But to wrap it up for the Bucs, this is a very, very winnable division. I see this team, and I know it's way too early to predict, but I'll go ahead and say it. I see this team getting back to the postseason. And I say that selfishly because I want to be the team that goes in and trounces them like they trounced us last year, being the Philadelphia Eagles. So Atlanta, Carolina, New Orleans just kind of sit by the wayside for me on this one. I got to get some get back on Tampa. Then y'all can pick them apart throughout the season.
Oh man!
But I am excited at what they did with Winfield.
Right. No, fair enough. And hey, before Jarrell has to get out of here, because we were talking a little NBA, but Jarrell, I do want to bring this up because the whole sports betting craze, and you brought up a good point. And the question, like with what the NBA does, and they've done it for a few years now, the whole 2 minute release thing, like what officials may have missed, and obviously everybody's saying Rick Carlisle's whining about this and that after game 2 when you see a dude get pushed in the back and go flying a few feet, but when they release stuff like that, how is one, to your point, and what sports betting has become, but how is one to not say that, man, this is insane? Like, you have players, you suspend players, you can, suspend them for a year, whatever. But to say other outside influences with these leagues being sponsors in the 2 minute release, and you see these fouls, like, how are people not supposed to be cynical, Jarrell?
Man, I'll tell you what, that happened to me today with the Celtics. I just needed Jaylen Brown to score 25. He went up for a mid-range shot at the foul line, and they reviewed the play. You remember?
Yeah.
If you saw it today, and it was a no foul. The defender didn't even touch him. Messed me all up.
I mean, he got 27.
But like this are happening more often than we've ever seen before. Yeah, but before he got to 27, he was stuck on 24. It was just right before, but it was 1 minute left in the game in the fourth quarter. 1 minute and 55 seconds left.
Gotcha.
But yeah, this is becoming something is definitely new. With the playback, man. I mean, it really hurts, and this betting is exciting, but is a give and take.
I want to ask you about the Celtics too, because do you think that in the first 2 series, do you think they're purposely losing their game 2s at home so they can just win their series at home? I'm not calling the Celtics cheaters, everybody, but I'm just saying, like, it's kind of funny. They lose game 2 and then they come back in game 3, like, okay, we're going to punch the hell out of you. And that's what they do.
Hey, look, you know what? The Celtics, the Knicks, and who else? The Mavericks, they all scare me, man. The teams that I think that are, that should be, at least 3-1, let's, finish out the series. They, maybe they're just tired. It's a long series, but I'm thinking, this is going to be an easy series. And man, they're letting the teams come back. Like I really thought the Knicks were going to, cap off 3-1 for this series, man. And it's looking real iffy right now. Same thing with the Celtics. I figured in my mind, if this isn't their year, as far as, your superstars are not in the playoffs this year, you have guys that have experience. You have the right pieces in the right places. If you can't win this year, Celtics, what do we need to do? And that's not even my squad. But I tell you what, they better step it up, man. I'm expecting a little bit more from Jaylen Brown, to be honest with you.
Right. And I always hate the, if it's not a championship, it's a failed season. But with Boston, to your point, with Boston, like winning the East by 14 games, like we know, and then just dominating from, I mean, pretty much wire to wire in the regular season, but not really being challenged the last month, but still, staying sharp.
Yeah.
Like I said, I mean, I just say it in jest, you drop game 2 at home, so you can get a gentleman's sweep, but you can win the series, and, you can treat your fans to a home court victory. But yeah, no, look, all the money in the sports betting, and once you get into it, and again, I'm not saying, players are doing it. We've had, scandals in the past, but I just think it's crazy that you talk about it and you get in bed with these, with these websites and everything, and you're like, okay, DraftKings, FanDuel, ESPN has bet now, their ESPN bet and everything. And look, it was going to evolve to that anyway, but man, absolutely. Again, it's just,
I'm pretty sure players. I'm pretty sure I was talking to a friend of mine who played. He works for one of the organizations. I'm not going to say which organization. So he was, we were explaining to me how this thing works. So they monitor everything on their social media, everything on their phones.
Oh, yeah.
They have a certain database they have to go through. So I'm pretty sure that they, influence their friends or whatever. But you got to be real careful because they're not playing, man. You know what I mean? They're not playing. But my thing is unlike baseball, is more consistent with, your points, your rebounds, as far as certain players. Right. I'm really excited about WNBA though, where they're going as far as, our star players that are coming in, the shift that is changing as far as attendance, sponsorships, endorsements. Is that on top of sports betting in WNBA is exciting to me.
Right. And what is the big endorsement in the W?
Man,
who got the Nike deal?
Man, Asia got a deal with Nike, from my understanding, this morning, or they announced it this morning, and that is major. That is major. And like I said, I know that the attendance has been going up. Last year, we were talking about attendance at a WNBA game is around 3,000 fans, 3,000 seats. Now they're packing out stadiums, man. Just with the talent. And you know what? It was funny. Radio host Charlamagne the Guy brought up an interesting topic. He said that he knew more of the WNBA players that were getting drafted this previous draft than we didn't even recognize in the NBA draft. And I was like, you know what? That's real, man. That's real. Right. It's more entertaining, more exciting, and they spend more time in these college, Power 5 schools that we build a relationship, and stakeholders, as far as stakeholders, build a relationship with them. So I'm more excited to see them grow, and they're actually balling hard.
Yeah, because even the ones that aren't college hoops, junkies or fans that watch, they always have friends that do. And when the NBA was like that, guys coming out for 3 years, you had more people that you could know. So, hey, man, I know you got to get going. Thanks for jumping on. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you for. Thanks for having me on, even though I was on the run with my mind over 100 places. But we're going to definitely, we're definitely going to chop it up again, me, you, or Eric. And I appreciate y'all having me on, man, just to, talk a little sports with you, man.
Oh, man, absolutely, man. He's the best. But we're going to hit a break. When I get back, Eric and I are going to talk more WNBA, NBA. And, yes, his boy Jalen Hurts is now the 5th highest paid quarterback because Jared Goff got a deal. So he knocked Jalen Hurts down one. We'll see if Eric's okay with that. But more coming up here on the Sports Arena. Yes, we are back here on the Sports Arena. I am Michael Caratinito at Diablo00 on X. He is the talented Mr. Eric Wilson at Eric Wilson TV. I was just giving a little tongue-in-cheek there. Although, Eric, I will say, before we get to the Asia Wilson thing, because this is one thing that like I didn't realize that. I'm like, oh yeah, when it and Jarrell and I talked before the show, I was like, yeah, it happened, but I'm like, wait, I'm like, that really hasn't happened before. I'm like, this is awesome. But I will say, Jalen Hurts now the 5th highest paid quarterback because Jared Goff, who performed at a hell of a year last year, got his bag. Are you okay though with him being number 5? You all right with that?
As long as the brother gets paid, I don't care where he ranks as far as being one of the highest or low. Listen, as long as Jalen makes his money, but with that also comes a sense of responsibility.
Yep.
Okay. You can't just be a one and done in the postseason. You can't start out 10-1 and then just backslide all the way through the month of December. Listen, this ain't the Dallas Cowboys when the Tony Romo era. Okay. All right. All right. I'm just saying, what I'm simply saying to you is, with great money comes great expectations.
Yep.
All right. We just like we were talking about the NFC South. Mike, you and I both know it is a 2-horse race in the NFC East. It is the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. Now listen, for all intents and purposes, I can sit here and say to you, May 13th of 2024, Mike, Dallas is going to probably go either 11-6 or 12-5. Why? Because you have the same scheme
the last 3 years.
The same people that you had last year. So what's your end result going to be? 12-5, either a first or second round exit. You ain't getting to the NFC Championship.
There we go. Man, he's fine. Well, I just wanted to remind you, you know what leaked today? Well, everything starts to leak a little early in games, but the home opener for the irrelevant Cleveland Browns is the Dallas Cowboys. Going to Cleveland, baby.
That's how we're starting the season.
Yeah, I saw they put it. I saw it out. It leaked, but the Browns and the Cowboys. But we can get to the
week 1.
It drops.
Yeah, we'll have plenty of that.
Get to that. We'll get to that later. But no, I want to talk. Like the whole sports betting thing, and we've talked about it before, but. And officiating. And I just actually talked to a gentleman because last preseason game against the Sparks Friday night. But we were downstairs in the Al McCoy Media Center, and the next Pacers game is on, and we're talking about the fouls. And I go, "Yep, me and one of my best friends always say this, man." And I said it to him when we first met, and he was total agreement. And said, if it's a foul in the first game, in the 41st game, in the 82nd game, but it's not a foul in the playoffs, how are you not becoming a part of the game? Now I get. With the athleticism, the bodies flying around, and each ref is responsible for one area. Fine. Not taking that away from him. But in the open court, when a dude gets pushed in the back and people are like, oh, he was flopping. Dude, let you jog half speed and let me push you in the back with a little bit of strength. See how that goes. I'm surprised he kept his feet. I mean, I know they're great athletes, but I'm surprised he kept his feet. But with the sports betting thing, and when you think about it, like Jarrell said, and that insight is awesome. We know their social media stuff is monitored. We know they have to go through certain things. So they're not just going to blatantly be betting, guys that got caught. Obviously, Calvin Ridley, got suspended for the year in the NFL. Other players have been suspended 6 games. You look at the NBA, wanting to crack down on it. It's like, but how are we supposed to not think with the scandals that have been with the refs in the past there? I mean, I'm obviously just one. It was Tim Donaghy, but still, like with what went down with that and things we've seen, like when they're not getting called, even though it's the same every playoffs. And if people listen to you and me the last 15 years, they would know that it's the same in every sport, every playoffs. But how frustrating is it? And when
it is becoming a part of the game, and that I think is the obstacle that we have to deal with is, now these and let's take, I'll talk Philly for a minute here. Something I very rarely do. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
But that game 2 matchup against the New York Knicks in the first round of the NBA playoffs, all the missed calls and things that didn't happen. And then we get the actual referee's report that came out after the fact.
Right.
Right. The 2 minutes. And it's like, well, and I was just having this conversation today with someone. It's like, what's the point of putting this report out if it's not going to change anything? The Knicks still won that game. It didn't matter. In the aftermath is like, okay, well, is this them taking accountability? Because if that's the case, then does this mean that these refs are going to get more training? Are they going to be more conscious of these particular fouls as opposed to other ones? And that's my whole thing. My whole thing is,
and they need to just come out and say they're not calling traveling anymore, Eric. Sorry to cut you off. Just say, look, traveling's no longer a penalty. LeBron James can take 6 steps. Russell Westbrook's done it before. Dudes take 5 steps. Like, just say, hey, if we do call traveling, it's going to be like the guy literally ran from the baseline to half court. Then we'll call it.
Yeah, I again, and I'd like to be in some of these owner meetings and league meetings when they are having these conversations, showing that there were missed opportunities to call the game, and going back to your point about the betting issue, does this foul or does this non-call have a direct correlation to how the game ends and the bookies and the over-unders and the point spreads? And I mean, we can go down that rabbit hole another time. I am just very much like you. And again, Mike, you hit the nail on the head. Damn it, if it's a foul in the first quarter of the very first game, then damn it, it better be the same foul in game 7 of an NBA final. I don't give a damn. Okay. Right. And the league, and I don't want to put all of this on Commissioner Adam Silver, but he has to shoulder some of this responsibility to say, I get it. People are paying their hard-earned money. They want to see the top players play. Let's just take, for example, let's say for an argument that the NBA finals, which are coming up next month, let's just say it is Boston and Denver. Okay. We want to see Tatum and Brown on the court for all 6 or 7 games. We want to see Jokic and Murray out there for all those games. But while everybody else was talking about the whole Jamal Murray incident in game 2, I'm sitting here saying to myself, damn that. You risked injuring not only the other team, but one of your own players because you was mad at something. And then on top of that, you were actually throwing it at an official. Right. Like, no, I'm sorry, Mike. Let's be very clear about something. If I took a bag of frozen peas and threw them at a cop, I'm getting arrested. Right. Okay? Right. I'm going to jail. Right. That's assault on a LEO, law enforcement officer. Not to say that we should consider referees to be on the same level as a police officer or someone in law enforcement,
right?
But that's their job.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Steve Javy, I think, had a great synopsis of it, Eric. To piggyback off your point, is that the officials, and they could have been coming back down the court. None of them saw who threw it, but Steve Javy's like, you stop playing, you tee up the bench. Like, it's just a technical for the bench. Like,
exactly.
And and then when you go back to video later, I mean, if you go back to video, after the game, the NBA is obviously going to video and seeing who did it. Like, yeah, you find him. But I think if it, to your point, and again, I wasn't trying to be weak on this saying, don't suspend him because it's no, I don't. Like I said, I say this, like, if I can think of it, if it was Michael Jordan that did that, I would have been like, suspend him too. Everybody in Phoenix wanted, those suspensions that happened from David Stern against San Antonio. Well, there were Tim Duncan was 3 feet on the court and he wasn't in the game. Why didn't he get suspended? He was on the court, which was the whole thing. It doesn't matter how far you come up, was David Stern's attitude about it. But Tim Duncan didn't get suspended the next game. Robert Horry did, obviously, for the check. And then, but the Suns had guys out for 1 game, and the commissioner's like, well, people in Phoenix, well, no, Tim Duncan was 3 feet on the court. But he should have suspended Jamal Murray. If it would have hit a player, my point is, he should have been suspended.
Doesn't matter.
Didn't get anybody a fine, yes, absolutely.
Doesn't matter. But Mike, that fine, that $100,000. Come on, Mike, $100,000 to Jamal Murray. Well, it
still hits the pocket.
That's like me and you going out for drinks one night. That's what that. I mean, that's how I compare it. Right, exactly. Jamal Murray's $100,000 fine is like when I come to Arizona in June and me and you go out. That's the same thing. It's like, come on, cut it out.
Yeah.
But but again, it's like we have grown in the sports world. We have grown so accustomed to seeing these highly visible, highly touted players that we want to see them each and every week. And we use the premise of all the season ticket holders and all the fans who are coming and going and spending their hard-earned money to go to these arenas, to go to these fields, to go to these parks, to go to these stadiums and see their player, because they only get to see it once every 4, maybe once every 8 years. So in that moment, how can we, if a player goes and does what Jamal Murray did, how can we suspend them? Because then it's like, we're going to lose revenue by suspending him. Well, damn it, that's Jamal Murray's fault. That ain't our fault. Jamal Murray made that conscious decision to do that. 100%. And I don't give a damn if it's game 3, game 4. Right. I don't, So Draymond, because everybody likes to talk about the fact that if Draymond wouldn't have been suspended for that game, Cleveland wouldn't have won.
Well, I mean,
but Draymond gets suspended.
You know how I feel about that. Draymond should have been suspended 100%, but LeBron should have been suspended because he instigated it.
But that's my point. My point is we're so quick to throw stones at one house, but not at the other. Right. When the accountability needs to be both. But in this case, Jamal Murray should have been suspended for game 3. Now, speaking of that series, Jokic, dog, I got to take a step back because I recognized who he was, and I'll use your phrase. Hey, Mike, I was listening about Nikola Jokic, but I did not hear about Nikola Jokic. Right. Yo, my brother, I admit I am hearing everything about Nikola Jokic, because to be down 0-2 and to take games 3 and 4, and you said it earlier on the show tonight, it was the same way with the NHL series between Dallas and Vegas.
Yeah.
The road team went into somebody else's house.
See, Eric, here's degenerate gambling real quick. If you would have bet that, like if you just took Denver, Minnesota, and then say you took Dallas, Vegas, and then Denver, Minnesota second round, saying, yeah, the first 4 games are going to be won by the road team. I'm telling you right now, I would have been doing this show from you probably in like Bora Bora or something, or in the Caribbean with the amount of money I just would have won on that. No, but I kid because but it's crazy. But yeah, Jokic, I mean, he needed to ball. I mean, that Minnesota defense is no joke. And we touched on that. We started talking these series, but man, I mean, yeah, it's tough. Like I mean, the MVP, I mean, Shaq said Jokic said, hey, he is the best big man in the game. Could be the best player in the world, but this year's MVP he felt was SGA. Like, did it all year. Like, and he only got 14 votes, and Shaq's like, see, that's the problem with the voting. Like, somebody's always going to be mad. I mean, whatever. But I just Jokic is insane. And I mean, you're right. Like, I think you get numb to it, and just like, but like pounding, when we were going back and forth, 2 years ago about Embiid, like when Jokic won it that year, and I'm like, man, Embiid earned it. Like they both have it there, but I see Embiid. And then last year when Embiid did, people were like, oh, well, I mean, look at Jokic. It's like, dude, I get it. It's not easy. Like obviously being a consistent referee. But yeah, man, what he did, I mean, that's just insane to me. Like, Murray in the first 2 games he was throwing heating pass because he was so PO too. I mean, he scored 21 points in 2 games and then averaged 21.5 on the road in games 3 and 4.
Right. And to that, and I have to take a moment to truly give a shout out to Aaron Gordon, because I did cover him in 2018 and 2019 when he was here with the Orlando Magic. And he was always that guy that when he was on, and that's why it would frustrate me and Alex so much with Aaron Gordon and Jonathan Isaac when they were together with Vucevic. I was like, yo, do y'all understand if y'all just turn the notch up, just go from level 2 to level 6, man?
Yeah, but
y'all are and under Steve Clifford, I just saw this team and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. That's why we would get so frustrated when we would watch these guys play, because they had moments of just greatness.
Right.
And I'm sitting here and,
Yeah, but
Alex and I, and even Jake, our boy Jake
Right.
Rongholt, the three of us would be sitting there at the, well, now Kia Center. And we would just be like, yo, you can see it. I'll never forget this real quick. I got to tell this story. So it was a Wednesday, Friday game. The Magic were home for 2 games, and they were playing the Lakers on Wednesday, and they were playing the Rockets on Friday. And the Rockets had Harden and Westbrook. And then the Lakers, of course, had LeBron. And I'll never forget this. Me and Alex went back and forth on this, because I said to him, I said, dog, I said, they got to take at least one of the two. And he looked at me, and you know how Alex was when he got into his zone. He looked at me and he said, Eric, I'm going to tell you right now, if they don't play like these are playoff games, they are going to get blown out of their own building. And I'll never forget. And it's, you know, I go back and I watch all the Magic perspectives from time to time with me and him. He called it so precisely. I had to stop and be like, damn, he was on point. But when, and that was a Laker game. And that's when KCP, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, was on that squad.
Yeah.
When it got to Harden and Westbrook that night against the Magic, that Friday night, I threw my hands up in the air because I was like, yo, Harden fitting to go off. And sure as gun shooting, yo, he just came in there and said, it don't matter where I shoot from this night, I'm putting up a 50 burger and give me 4 double cheeseburgers on my way out the door. Yeah, he's a Sun Devil, Jerry. But
Yeah.
it just amazes me.
Well,
how,
but Aaron Gordon, but when you and Alex talked about that, like, and I remember when we talked about it on the show too, because I remember like you were saying that and watching the Magic. I checked you guys out and I was like, dude, they're doing just enough to get out of town. Like they're tired, like they feel like they can't take any steps in the East, whether they agree with the coach or not, and they're not going to do it. You know, in the media, you know, they're going to do enough, but trade wise to get assets, like they're going to get out of town, and that's what Aaron Gordon did. And what was it?
Vooch is gone, and then Fournier left.
Fournier, yeah. I mean, look, the team you got now, they're young. They got the right coach there. They're exciting, and I mean, look, Banchero, like that was, dude, a Game 7 performance, like cool, man. Some other guy, like it was tough for some of his other teammates, but you're a rookie. You put up 38 and 7 or 10, whatever it was. Like, dude, come on now. So yeah, no, but I'm with you. They did just enough to get out of town, and that's what I think frustrates fans even more, because when you guys are there and you're covering it, you're right. Like I saw what you guys are talking about. Like you see the talent, you're like, this team can do damage in the East. I'm not saying they win the whole thing, but they can do damage, and then they go on like 7-game losing streaks. I don't know.
I just never understood it, but yeah, man, it's just and you know, kind of circling this whole thing and bringing it back when we were talking about, you know, just these playoffs and how they're shaping up. I'm gonna tell you right now, honestly, Mike, between, like, I still say in the East, it's gonna be Boston. I thought for a moment it would be the Knicks. I really did, but there's too much, and I just don't. I think they're gassed out. They're you know, tomorrow night is going to be a do or die for the New York Knicks. And I say this as a one-time former Knick fan, which I was in the 90s, because the Sixers just weren't a hill of beans. I'm just saying, what we have to see tomorrow night from the New York Knicks is everybody from Brunson on down needs to play like if they don't win this game, they're out of a job. Okay, you ain't gonna play in the. I'm not talking about you getting traded. I'm talking about you are not gonna play in the NBA ever again.
Right.
That's the type of game. Well, like I said, I ain't worried about Brunson.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the rest of them cats.
Right.
This is Game 5 in Madison Square Garden, Mike. Right. In the 90s, man, and you and I both know this. The amount of Game 5s when the Knicks were playing the Pacers or the Bulls or whomever, That was their moment to truly be visible, to be recognizable, to be like, nah, this is our house. This is the Mecca. Okay, we play in this stadium 41 nights a year. Y'all should be getting on your hands and knees and thanking God that we let you in the building.
Right. Was it a game 5? Was that playoffs? Was it a game 5 where Larry Johnson said he never been in anything like that when Charlie Ward went nuts and the whole Garden is chanting Charlie? I know you remember that game. I forgot who.
I don't
Larry
remember
Johnson
what game that
says
was.
like saying something about Charlie Ward that people still think he should be playing football. Like you ever, like no one's ever got this. Very few have got this in the Garden. The Garden was shaking, and all 18, 19,000 people. And I remember the highlight, man, and I even had freaking chills. I'm like, man, that's one bucket list game I wish I could have been at.
I know.
Everybody just chanting Charlie, Charlie, Charlie. Like, it was insane. But hey, let's wrap on this. So Asia Wilson, man, the A1s. I know like Sabrina Ionescu, Serena Williams, obviously Naomi Osaka are part of the Nike lineup. But to announce the A1s, that's pretty. Look, man, they finally get chartered flights, and now she's got A1s along with the others, and bringing more. I guess you could say eyes to the WNBA, but more obviously shoe game recognition.
Yeah, man. And I have to say this. First off, let me just say this because I haven't done it publicly. And if I'm going to do it on any platform, I'm going to do it on my own damn platform. So first and foremost, to one of the greats to ever play the game of basketball, to one of the greats to win 3 championships with 3 different organizations spanning across a 16, 17-year career. Candace Parker, thank you for being a part of the W. And more importantly, on a personal note, thank you for giving me the opportunity to interview you in Washington when you played the Mystics. I was honored to have that opportunity, and I just want to say thank you for that. I was also there when you won the championship in Chicago, and you brought it home. And it was truly a surreal moment, Mike. I still say this to this day. I wish you and Megan and others like the Sports Pro Without Pay, Ray Lynn, John, Ty, Big Guard, everybody. I wish y'all could have been there just to experience the energy in that building. But, and it's not even a but, period, done, end of story. Let's move on to the next portion, which is where Candace is at right now in her career, being the president of basketball operations with Adidas. That just should resonate with everybody who has followed her career, with everybody who has watched her in the W, and for every young woman out there right now. It doesn't matter what sports you play. It doesn't matter whether you like sports or you don't like sports. Get to know who Candace Parker is, because her mental and physical acumen is world class. And what she is doing is only going to continually raise the bar for women. I am just thankful to have been in her presence. But I'm telling you, what she is about to do is going to explode. And seeing Asia, a woman who she just played with and just won a championship with, now get her own shoe deal. Asia Wilson, to me, she is just such a well-rounded individual. And what I mean by that is Asia just is having fun. You know, when you see her out there on the court, yes, she is a dominant woman in the WNBA. But watch her press conference. She don't care what people say or think of. Asia gonna be Asia.
Yep.
And that's what I love so much about not only what she does, but what a lot of the women in the W do. But since we're talking about Asia and her shoe deal, like that to me, just I'll go back and I say it all the time. Where was this 5 years ago? Where was this? You know, just there are so many females who paved the way for, again, the Caitlin Clarks, the Angel Reeses, the Asia Wilsons, the Kelsey Plums, the Kalia Coppers, and I want them all to get their due. But we have got to keep this train rolling, because it is only going to explode. Again, I've said it once and I'll continually say it. If this was 2019, Mike, we would not be having this conversation. And if we did, it would be a minor footnote because we were just, okay, we're talking sports. We have to talk about this. But from 2020 till now, dog, I'm telling you, it has just been such a privilege to be a part of this organization. The opportunity that it's given myself, that it's given you, that it's given our platform, the Sports Arena. Hell, we were just on the call the other day, just making sure that we were set for this season. You know what I mean? And so I never want to do a disservice or an injustice to anybody who is in the W, because it's just been such a great opportunity and just a great feeling to be in the room.
Oh yeah,
that to me is just.
No, it is. And being in the room with Diana Taurasi, she talked about it the other day, like 20 years with the same. She had never, she's like, I had seen Phoenix because I was a Lakers fan, and she paused and looking around the room. I was like, whatever, we get it. No, but I mean, like 20 years, obviously with the same team, and she scored more points than anybody. And, obviously, and it's crazy because you think about that. I mean, yeah, there was, knock on wood, I mean, there's a year she was not the full year, but missed a good amount because of injury. But then she took that year off, like you and I talked about, to go. She got $1 million for a year to go play in Turkey. And she's like, "Yep, not playing." I'm like, yeah, man, go get your bag. That makes sense. Go get your bag. Yeah. And so, but I mean, the point she scored, now that they've expanded the season, and look, like I said, I get, when you start this, I mean, the season starts in the NBA playoffs, and in certain cities, like, yeah, I mean, people in Phoenix thought the Suns would still be in the playoffs. Okay, they're not. But, yeah, when it starts up, it's like, oh, well, do you really want to compete? Are people going to people will come out multiple nights if they want to see something. Like if they can get tickets to products there. But to me, like, yeah, the growth of it, and Asia Wilson, the A1s, I mean, that's the shirt was great. Like, yeah, you're right. I don't want to screw up the quote. It says, yeah, of course I have a shoe.com, and it directed it to the Nike website, to her thing. So that's very, very awesome. But yeah, I mean, players like, Diana Taurasi, and I mean, you think of a Cheryl Swoops, you think of a Lisa Leslie, coming back in the league. And even like, obviously, like getting, and even though you always say, I mean, I bring her up, but like what she was to women's basketball. I mean, a lot of those women, I mean, I got to talk to Ann Myers Drysdale for a few minutes, obviously Friday night, because she's doing the broadcast with the Mercury, the color with Cindy Brunson. And it's like, we were talking fouls, stuff like that. And it's like, you see, these players have paved the way. But I mean, I go to obviously like, Cheryl Miller and how like she played. And then it was like, oh, it's cool for like women to like play like that. And then you fast forward, like you said, to, the early, the UConn teams under Gino Auriemma. We talked about Tennessee with Pat Summitt, what the great Tara Vonderveer did at Stanford. I mean, you look at, yeah, you're going to play the game the right way. We're going to coach you. And I mean, when you see coaches, like people will be like, oh, well, you can't talk to girls. Like, no, once you step on a field, a court, anything, you're an athlete. Like, no one's here to belittle you, but like, you're going to be coached. There's a difference, people. We're not going to go down that, look it up. But that being said, like, Cheryl Miller coaching, those first few Mercury teams. I remember, like I said, going out, getting to interview her, and I was just like so crazy nervous. I was like, man, you got to be kidding me. But like, having I mean, obviously, like Penny Taylor was here, and like, even a player like Lisa Harrison back then, who was just like, it was like, man, like, you see the players, and yeah, you hear of a Cheryl Swoops, a Dawn Staley, a Lisa Leslie. It's like, damn, like you see that, and it's like you can start going to, just in getting to go to Mercury games. I was like, oh, this is awesome, like, okay. But it's the way it has grown, and yes, we can always argue and debate like why it took so long. I mean, yeah, the first when they merged the NBA, the first 25 years. I mean, people know the stories. I mean, the NBA final, Magic Johnson talking about he could play a game, they get a meal and go home, and he could watch himself on TV that night because the NBA finals were freaking tape delayed. So yeah, again, when I say the NBA could have done more, but the NBA, you started this up, you wanted to, and again, it's grown. And we were talking about on the phone the other day. I mean, it leaked that obviously next year the Warriors was going to be that team in San Francisco, and then in Toronto the year after that. Like, so I mean, it's looking like it's going to get finalized, and I mean, I'm just bummed that again, and other cities that are, out there. I mean, Nashville, Portland. I think if they wanted Philadelphia, yeah, exactly. No, Philadelphia as well. I mean, if you go Nashville, Portland, Philadelphia, I would love, and again, I'm not in Texas. You know me, I have no dog in that fight, but to bring back Houston. Because I mean, the comments that you think of what
you would need, because right now you got 14 with the expansion of the Bay Area and Toronto.
And then, and then you go
if you did Nashville, do you really want to do 2 in Washington State though? Portland and Seattle?
No.
Oh, Portland's Oregon. Sorry, my bad. My
job. The other thing is,
it's the left coast. I'll let you handle all
I know. I was going to say, wait, hold on. But no, you may stop for a second. I'm like, oh, no, wait, time out. Or real quickly, you could do, if you wanted to, again, it could go between either one. But I think you have to do it where you have an NBA team. That's why Portland works. I think expansion is smarter that way because you already have practice facilities.
Right.
You have facilities. You have, obviously, an arena.
Right.
So I think that would be the only issue maybe with, Nashville, because I was also going to say if you didn't want to do Portland area, I could see doing Vancouver as well, having 2 Canadian teams. You could do Vancouver because the Seattle rivalry is right there. I mean, that's
yeah. I don't know,
but
Vancouver
I'm just saying,
seems to be
Philadelphia, Portland, Nashville, and to me it would be Houston. That would be like if you were to go 4 more. I know it might take a minute, but if you were to go 4 to get Houston back, because I mean, come on, man, they were the first dynasty of the W.
So Houston, Nashville, Portland,
Philly, yeah,
that would make 18 teams.
Right.
That would be because we're included. Yeah, because we have 12.
You could actually have 9 in the East, 9 in the West. You could actually maybe have conferences. I don't know.
Maybe have an East and a West. But more importantly than that, now you would up your number to almost 200 women being able to play in the W.
Oh yeah.
And I think that is where I'd like to see Commissioner Engelbert and the organization really thrive as far as just giving these women the opportunity.
I mean, look, yeah.
I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to sit here and say they deserve it.
Right.
No, sit here and say give them the opportunity.
I know our brother Raylan will say that. Like when people say deserve, yes, you do need to earn it, but there were still steps that could have been taken in the beginning, and I've slowly pointed those out. And it's not a rocket science business model, as you know, Eric. Like I said, the NBA could have been like, okay, we're starting this when they have, obviously when there's sponsorship groups like with the NBA, they could be like, hey, a portion of this though is going to go to the W, so you're going to be W. So yeah, they might not get as
Mike,
much.
Answer me, so riddle me this, Batman. Why is that such a very simple statement, but makes so much damn sense?
Well, and it's like in '96, and again, the money wasn't the same. We get it. TV deals were obviously not bad, but they were going up and up and up and up. But yeah,
Mike, you just
I said it for years, and that's
what I said.
Ray, it's the NBA's product. How do you not want to? I'm not saying that their first year should look like the NBA's. What was it, like 50th year, whatever it was, right at the time. It shouldn't look like it's not going to look the same. I get that salaries, everything, and I think they landed the. I think they obviously landed the charter flights, which I think probably they like the growth, they like what they're seeing, but I think it stopped the salary cap from going up this year, which
it did because that's actually
teams. Well, because
they broke their CBA, they had to. Because the CBA,
with the charter flight, exactly.
I think they're going back to the table this year to renegotiate.
Well, right, but I think it wasn't even. Yeah, but there was not that salaries would have jumped crazy this year, but it could have jumped. But I know the Mercury are again with what they have salary cap wise are kind of affected about the last 4 they can sign and how much they can sign them for. So it's going to be interesting on that part. But look, you get the charter flights, not commercial flights, charter flights. But yeah, the NBA, like I said, it's business models. And back then companies would have been like, okay, well, so, and they can't say, oh, well, we're charging more because we're adding this to WNBA. No, a portion of what they got. Yes. If you want to say 85% goes to the NBA and then the 15% of the sponsorships will go to this, and they're in the WNBA. So then you get, and even if they don't stay for long with the NBA, but you still get that recognition in WNBA arenas. You still get that
year-round. You got year-round advertisement.
Right, but I'm saying, and even if they don't renew deals with the NBA and they're taken down, it's still in that time, it's still that recognition. So people see, oh, well, the W has this, because people are like, oh, but yeah, no, to me, that's why I said to Ray that night, like, okay, you can say this now, but nobody's still answering the question. In the NBA, you had all these smart people. David Stern got him, like I said, out from tape delayed finals to, obviously and look, we know 92 was, leading up to 92 was a huge year because obviously, they were tired of the U.S. college kids getting beat down by, grown men. Not that they weren't good, talented play. People say, oh, well, that's what happens when you don't send the best. Well, no, they were the best in college and they're really good. They're just not fully developed yet. And they're getting beat up by some teams that have been together for quite a while. So again, but what 92 did, what going to Barcelona did in the Olympics, like on the men's side, and you think about for the NBA, how okay, it was pseudo global, but then it just obviously that whole thing, but you remember the big sign of Michael Jordan in Barcelona with that thing and that famous picture where he's looking up at it damn. It was I think it could have been the size of literally the Empire State Building. That's how big that thing was. And Michael Jordan's looking up at it, but Michael Jordan coming to Spain, but Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Patrick Ewing, Carmelo, all those guys, at the Olympics. And it's insane. I remember watching the opening ceremonies and how other countries like US and they're walking in and they're filming it on stuff and they're looking around, but it's everybody wants to shake their hands. It's dude, you're hopefully the basketball teams aren't, because you're defeating yourself before you do anything. But we know what David Stern did. And outside of, like I said, of being in Phoenix here and annoyed with, certain people get suspended, but none of the Spurs do for walking on the court. But what he did as a businessman, absolutely genius. Him starting the WNBA, that's the only thing that always left me scratch my head. I'm not saying dump 30% of the NBA profits into the WNBA to make it stable right away, but you could have done that through sponsorships. You could have done that, and then when then you have it still's the WNBA, but it breaks off, and obviously they always have their own commissioner. But it's one of those things where you started this product, NBA. So no matter what anybody wants to say, that's why I always say, Ray, I love you, but they started this product. They could have made it. And again, the money wasn't, you and I both know, obviously the money was good. Money was good, but it wasn't the same as it is now. TV deals, but everything you did from 96 on, all the momentum you got from the Olympics in 92, and not that people weren't watching basketball. Obviously we were, Eric, but people were. But all the momentum you got from what the Dream Team did, and then even people that, like you said, may have not been fans of, Michael Jordan or Patrick Ewing or, Larry Bird obviously just played. That was the last he played because, he wanted to get that Olympic medal, and obviously he could still shoot and play. He did that at the Olympics, but, for a Magic Johnson to do that, and then with what they did and expanding it globally, and then starting to go play games, preseason games, hitting, in China became a big thing, and obviously in Mexico, and then Canada got expansion teams, and the NBA, and you have Vancouver moved to Memphis, Toronto obviously stuck, but yeah, David Stern did so many good things, and that's why I say, for a guy that had a vision that, yes, it took a teeny bit of time, but stuck to it. You turn the NBA into this global product where, like Jarrell said with the draft, people don't know, the college kids, but it's tough to know a lot about the draft because look at the international flavor that has been in the NBA. Look, I won't say since 92, but let's just say since 2000, Eric, since, late 90s, 2000 on, look at the guys that have come over international that have just freaking killed it.
Right. And the list, we can start with Dirk.
Yeah. We
can do Mono, Tony Parker. The list, and I know I'm just throwing out something, but those are the names that are synonymous. Right. There are names that we are going to know, not just because we love the sports and we talk about it here on the Sports Arena, but because they have become, as you have said, global names.
Right. Tony Kukoc.
So if you
came over with the Bulls, they were one of the first to do that too.
If you take who was the other guy? Luke Longley.
Oh yeah, Luke Longley, Australian.
Yeah.
Australian.
Yeah. Like that was the one thing I said about the 96, 97, 98 Bulls team. They were not your typical NBA team. They were the vision that Commissioner David Stern had. It was global.
Right.
You
And
had
Michael Jordan was
international.
global.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
No, 100%.
so listen, even if you take, and I'm not trying to belittle or diminish the W in any way, but when you were talking about the sponsorships and the advertising, if you were to take even 5% of the money that you were getting and funnel that into this league to get this league to the level that they should have already been at.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I agree with you. It is a head scratcher.
Right.
Listen, you and I could sit here all night and discuss
no.
about what needs to happen with the W. I am just excited
But
that
it's on the up. I mean, and look, 25 years, people say, well, it's kind of a long time. Okay, but when you start a business, 28 years, yeah. So you start a business, but it's one of those things where it's like, okay, and you're into something, you're seeing you're doing good, but it's like, you know, at 5 years you might look, but at 10 years you're kind of like, oh wow, it's been like 10 years and you're to a point. So to me, it could have taken those steps a little bit quicker. And then, yeah, I mean, you need sponsorship dollars, you need fans in seats, you need,
merchandise
and deals, all that stuff. Yeah. Merchandise, but yeah. So it's good that it's going on the up and up. And yeah, look, I just love the people that like don't even want to talk. They say, oh, then they should just, so they just deserve to just give them money like they're getting the NFL. No, the NFL built the product. I mean, you think about the lockout, you know, Scabs got, you know, the Scab games in 85, like when we were little kids, like it was crazy because I was stoked for those. I'm like, good for them. Like I go, the owners are like, the players hate these guys because they're playing for less, but the owners are like treating it, say, well, you know, this is what we can afford to pay. And back then, again, yes, you did have a lot more, as we know. I mean, teams owned by like it was like family owned. It wasn't like, you know, ownership groups because of the money is insane, which again, if you're building a product, the value of it's going to go up. So people can understand. Nobody's saying give them NFL, like they don't deserve, you know, you say NFL money or even, you know, NBA money. No, like they've built it up. They have a thing. There's, you know, a luxury tax, but you do have, you know, quite a few of these owners that, yeah, you know, might own the NBA team too, but you know, these are billionaire owners. Like again, just like when Mark Davis said he was going to start flying his team, you know, charter, and they're like, no, you're not. And he's like, yeah, okay, you know, billionaires don't hear the word no, and when they do, they just laugh at it. Like we talked about last year when we were talking about this, like. I get he doesn't want to do it, but like, what does he care if he pays a fine? Cool. I'm going to get them on a flight. Cool. This is what I'll do. It's not going to be a true charter flight. I'm just going to look at a Southwest flight and I'm going to book every seat. But my teams are the only ones getting on, me and, you know, the coaches and players, and that's it. So we're on a Southwest plane. Yeah. Training staff. Right. That's it. But anyway,
really quick, cause I got to get out of here. Yeah. Okay. Knicks Pacers. Who you got tomorrow night?
Man, I'm not going against that Garden crowd. I know Brunson, Josh Hart. I mean, I think he had kind of his down game. He's been playing out of his mind. DiVincenzo, missed a few shots in Cleveland. I feel fall in New York. I think the Pacers, I think will be right there, but they're not winning. That crowd's not going to let them win the Garden.
Okay, then Minnesota, Denver. Road team has won.
I know, but see, this is where it changes because it's the same thing in the Vegas-Dallas series. So Denver wins tomorrow night in Denver. But I will say this, it does go 7. They'll be back in Denver for game 7.
Oh, all right. I'm saying Knicks are winning tomorrow night.
All right.
But I'm also saying Minnesota wins tomorrow.
Oh, Minnesota. Night. Okay. So they win all right. Hey, like I said, would it shock me? No. I'm just trying to go the same that it did with the hockey series, but that means that's neither here nor there. That's completely apples and, you know, grapefruits, not even oranges. But yeah, no, that's one thing. But yes, we definitely have to get out of here, everybody. Hey, so want to thank Jarrell, obviously, for jumping in, talking a little contract, like I said, Antoine Winfield Jr., Eric, lastly, I'll leave you on this. He better send some money to his dad because we know who taught him how to play the position. And his dad got some good money, but his dad didn't get this kind of money. So he better send money for dad for bringing him to practices and mom and dad. But, you know, that's
I'm sure I'm sure Junior will take care of his family.
Oh,
I have no doubt in my mind. And again,
good for
you
him.
talked about it earlier, but a huge shout out to Jared Goff, man, getting your 4-year deal and 170 million guaranteed.
Oh, and, okay,
bro,
I got to wrap on this. Yes, 170 guaranteed. And I said, Eric always sees me, but I go, all Pac-12 things aside, like this kid could play in college. Like you see the arm talent. Once Mr. 7 and 9, July 9th birthday, Jeff Fisher got out of it. They drafted him, but they put nothing around him. Like you talk about having people around you, like Drell and I were saying real quick. But then Sean McVay comes in and you see, okay, they're running the ball, but he's pushing the ball downfield. Damn, people are like, Jared Goff's pretty good, pretty accurate. Well, no crap. Like he can do it. Dan Campbell's like, all right, Matthew Stafford, it ran its course. Hey, it worked out well for them. You get an all-pro, not just a Pro Bowler, an all-pro lineman in Penei Sewell, and your line's insane. You give him Amon-Ra St. Brown the money like Terrell and I talked about, and now you lock up Goff and you draft another young corner. You have a running game. Dude, it's good. Like I said, good for him because that division definitely could be – I mean, I think the Packers put up a good fight, but that division's theirs for the taking.
I agree. All right, really quick, we got one last thing we got to talk about because W starts tomorrow.
Oh, yes.
I'm taking Liberty over the Mystics. I'm taking Connecticut over Indiana, and I'm taking Minnesota over Seattle.
Wow. What? You're taking Indiana to lose. You're taking the Fighting Caitlin Clarks to lose? No, I'm just kidding with you.
I am. Listen, because I've been in the Mohegan Sun Arena.
Oh, no,
Let me
it's
tell
awesome.
you something. Them Connecticut fans,
yeah,
they don't play, boy. They do not play. So.
Oh, no, I agree with you. Okay, so I am going to go with
Liberty Mystics. Who you got?
In Washington. Oh,
yeah.
Man. I'm not going against my girls. I got to go with the. I'm going Liberty. I'm with you there.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess.
You taking Indiana?
No, man, I'm with you. I'm taking Connecticut. I'm not gonna. I always say they just win. They keep on winning. I can't be that person that talks out of both sides of their mouth, saying, right. Yeah, no one talks about Connecticut, but yet there they are, 2nd seed, 3rd seed, banging around in the playoffs, like on the cusp. So, yeah, I'm going with Connecticut. I mean, I think, obviously Caitlin Clark, I think she'll play fine, but and then at 7 p.m., well, I mean, of course I'm going with Phoenix over Vegas, dog. They're going to be all.
No, it's Minnesota. Oh, no, yeah.
There's Phoenix.
Yeah,
Vegas
there's 2 games. I'm sorry.
There's 4.
You know why? Because I'm just looking at the schedule, but I have Phoenix as one of my favorites, so they're always on top. And I just
gotcha. All right. Yeah, I was like,
yeah, of course I'm taking. I'm taking Phoenix, of course, and then Minnesota, Seattle.
All right. So I have New York, Connecticut, the Mercury, and oh man, you know what? I mean, I'm going with Seattle. Skylar Diggins-Smith, I think, going to blow up. But, I did get the news. It is a bummer about Brittany Griner because she's going to be out. I saw it break on Sports Center. She'll be evaluated, I think they said, in the upcoming weeks, but I think it's going to be a full 2 weeks, and then they'll evaluate the toe again. But it happens at the beginning of the season. They can bring her back slow. Look, Kalia Copper. Exactly. Oh, God. Hey, man, you didn't tell me how much you like my pictures of Kalia Copper. I mean, hitting those shots. I sent those to you. Like, man, just – post game, she was looking good. I mean, she's talking post game after it's
KFC. That's what she does, exactly. Man. I ain't worried about that. North Philly, stand up. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it for us here on the Sports Arena. For my man Mike Harrison holding it down, your man Eric Wilson, South Dr. Heslip. We will see y'all throughout the week. Schedule rolls out. NFL schedule rolls out on Wednesday. WNBA is in full effect beginning tomorrow, so we're gonna jump on and chop it up and do that. But anybody, anytime, any place, y'all already know what it is. We'll holler at y'all. Everybody stay blessed. Peace.